Good morning! Happy 888 everybody! Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great day so far. And everybody is easing into this amazing energy of Lionsgate Portal, right? Got my lashes on today, I've even got some lippy on today, I mean business. I've done my own activations this morning. I've spent the most beautiful morning doing my own thing and it's just been incredible. But I had this real desire to come in here and just inject a little bit of energy into this group, because this group, as you know, is something that I'm not here all the time. I've never wanted to hold a group or have a group that was bombarded every day with information and stuff. Whilst that's important, I come in here when I've genuinely got something beautiful to say that's going to really support you, and integrity and authenticity is important and is not forced, right? It's a flow. And I hope that helps you in your expansion and the way that you work as well. Everyone's different. It's just the way I've always intended this group to be. However, there is a time right now where I really want to come in and add some value for you, which is going to really help you. So today, we have some incredible energy, right? It's been circulating, as you know. I'm sure if you're in this group, you're already in the spiritual space, you know that today is an 888 portal, otherwise known as Lionsgate's portal. There's so much information that you can go and read about it. I'm not going to go through that. If you already know about that stuff if you're in this group. What you will find, and something that came through really strong for me this morning to share with you, please excuse me, is some information to help you as facilitators, as leaders, as emerging leaders, and people really stepping into their true authenticity themselves, right? And leading others, helping others, transforming others, holding space for others, creating space for others, leading others through beautiful manifestations. Like, a lot of you in this group will be doing that. I know that you already hold space for people, whether it's through your own one-to-one appointments, or it is in group settings, whether you're a teacher or a master, whatever you do and whatever you're here to do to serve others. There's some really beautiful information that I want to share with you. Right, the first thing is about you, and I very quickly this morning posted a reel about this. Your energy through this transitional space in these next few days leading up to, especially today, because it's obviously the potent part of the energy, and beyond, is the most important thing that you need to back right now. And I say this with love in my heart and openness in my heart to give to you, because when you're facilitating change for others, if you're leading others through this energy or yourself, the most important thing that you can nail right now is your connection to your soul, to your heart, to your desires, of course, for your manifestations and things, but to the legacy that you're leaving, right? I really encourage you to, yes, enjoy the energy, get swept up in the collective consciousness, the higher truths of the collective consciousness, for you to really move beyond, through, past, to utilize this collective energy as everyone's connecting, right? It's a great portal for everyone to jump into. Fantastic. I really want you to do that. But your energy is paramount. And by that I mean the cleanliness, the intention, the connection to yourself that you have and what you're leaving, and what the momentum, the movement that you're creating, what you want that to be. It's a great time to manifest what you want, but you know, and that gets to be materialistic, it gets to be relationship, it gets to be emotional, it gets to be whatever it wants. There's no right or wrong here. I'm not throwing any shade at you, but is it conducive to where you're going? Because this leads me on to my next thing. So first of all, your energy, right, is super important. So make sure that you're spending time connecting. Make sure that you're spending time in silence today, contemplating, really opening your heart space. Like, before you do any Lionsgate work and manifestation, obviously cleanse your body, but concentrate on your heart space, your open heart, the way that you give to your clients, your community, whether that's your community is your family, your intimate community, or it's your larger community, right? So really connecting and spending time sitting with your heart space. And that means coming out of the head space. That means really consciously using your breath, using all the skills that you've got and you're mastering over the years to come to your heart space, come out of ego, dropping into the heart, connecting to soul, connecting to the infinite being of you, connecting to source, right? That beautiful channel. Also using the earth. Your energy is really important. The second thing that is also so important is, like I just said a minute ago, is your legacy vibes, what you're stretching for, what you're reaching for, is that conducive to your manifestations? Because, and this is really what came through for me this morning. I'm just gonna sip my coffee. If you've got a drink, have a little sip. Cheers. Thank you. Gotta have a little coffee. I've actually had some caffeine today. I don't usually have caffeine. Right. Is your legacy and your manifestation, is your manifestation conducive to your legacy? Now, the reason this is so important is because when you are manifesting, which so many people are going to be doing today, right? Everyone is going to be leaning in to what they want, what they desire, really journaling, getting to the bottom of things and creating beautiful spaces for themselves and for others. Some people holding spaces, whatever. Now, when you are facilitating these spaces, and your own or for others, when you're manifesting, there's a key moment that can inhibit and almost stop all the energy. Not stop, that's not the right word. Just really slow down the momentum that you're building for yourself, right? And it comes down to a type or something similar of limiting belief. So what I mean by that is, when you are manifesting, and this is a great technique for if you're working with people and transformational skills, and this is a technique that we look at and we teach in theta healing, and it's a manifestation technique for finding limiting beliefs or things that are going to be stopping you receiving what it is that you are here to receive, right? Figure 8 energy, obviously we're in you'll know all about this with the Lionsgate stuff, but we're in an 8 year. We've got this energy of this 8 energy, and this is the flow, right? Figure 8 flow, giving, receiving, right? Out of joy and no shadow frequencies, no leaky energy, right? It's all clean. I'm going off on a tangent here. I just need to come back to where I was. When you are manifesting and you're potentially in a space where you are expanding, you maybe journaled, you maybe done some processes or some almost like strategies where you're leaning into what you're getting, what you're doing. When you then get to the activation parts, when you're going into meditation, or when you are visualizing, or when you're creating that energetically for yourself in the beyond, in the quantum, or in the here and now, in the present moment, when you're in that liminal space and you're working with energy and your future self, or alchemizing your future self with you, whatever you're doing with the visualization, with the manifestation that you're calling forward, and fusing it, charging it with energy, all these wonderful activations, there's going to be a point, and this will happen for high 90% of people, there's going to be a moment where their inhibitor, their blocker, will come to the surface, and it will be a fleeting thought or a fleeting moment while they're in this space and they're connecting and they're visualizing, that the feeling or the evidence of this isn't going to work for me will manifest, right? Whilst you're manifesting, it's like as we expand into the things that we really desire and we're calling forward, especially if it's conducive to where we're going, right? Where we want to go, it's supporting our bigger long-term vision. When we are opening up space and we're creating, it as we expand, it opens up little pockets, or they're almost like air pockets, if you like. Air pockets where part of us, whether it's our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, energetic, whatever body you're looking at, when you're expanding and you're creating this manifestation space for yourself or for others, this little air pocket of disbelief or doubt will pop up, right? And it's a really wonderful technique for helping people with transformation, because we all have the answers. Our bodies have the answers, right? It may be that an ancestral thing has popped up. It may be that you've tapped into a flow of energy that is ready to flow, and there's a couple of things that just need tidying up before we really start catapulting forward. And this little air pocket will be a moment of disbelief, right? Now, if you're leading others through this beautiful experience, do your due diligence and make sure that you have in your process a window where you're helping people have awareness of this air pocket, right, that I've just been talking about. Yeah, if you're leading people through manifestation, a wonderful Lionsgate portal, oh, amazing, right? And they've done their journaling, they've got into the moment, they're in the flow, they've created their space, they've cleansed their energy, you've facilitated it well, and they're getting into this flow and this expansion, and they're really calling forward all of the energetic things in the liminal space, their future self, all this wonderful stuff's happening. You're sending energy, you created energy, it's wonderful, it's banging, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, their body throws up an air pocket of disbelief. It is going to quickly shatter, or maybe not shatter, but completely change what you facilitated for them. So what I'm encouraging you to do as a mentor and as an energetic guide for you is to encourage you to make sure that your process that you're leading people through today has a moment where it acknowledges, that was the word I was looking for, it acknowledges this air pocket, right? Some people, whilst you're in your process and your activation, you're not going to all of a sudden be able to stop and then start rewiring limiting beliefs. It's not going to happen. It's probably not what you planned. However, what I do encourage you to do is make sure that you acknowledge it. When you acknowledge it, the unconscious mind feels heard, seen, acknowledged itself, and it will be a little bit more obedient for you moving it to one side, right? At this point, you can encourage your students, your clients, the people that are joining your experience to maybe just write down what it was, or to remember it for later, just to store it in a part of the mind that's easily accessible so they can come back to it. It's going to need to be worked through. Whether that working through is something deep, and whether it's breath work, somatic work, whether it's energetic healing, whether it's just acknowledgement and reframing. Sometimes these things are really easy to change around. It's just bringing up the perspective and the awareness and energetically letting it go with intention, because it's residual energy, and those residual energy pieces are quite easy to reframe. If it's something that's a bit more deep rooted and needs acknowledgement beyond acknowledgement, it needs some work around it. If you don't acknowledge it in the present moment whilst you're leading people through this, it's going to stop them from going any further. And the work that you've created for them, the space that you're holding for them, it's not that it's null and void, but it will lose its momentum. And I know how magical your work is and what you're here to do. If you're in my world, I know that you're here to lean into vibrancy, to lean into magic, to lean into all this wonderful, wonderful stuff, right? So what I'm asking you to do as a mentor is to really ensure that you have all your bases covered whilst you're leading these transformative experiences. And yes, when you do journaling and you do the prep work, some of that will come up, but in the manifestation, whilst they're in the activation, sometimes these air bubbles come to the surface and they need to be addressed, right? And it's your job as a facilitator to make sure that you have, and sometimes it's just a word, or it's just a moment where you're like, be aware if there is anything that feels unachievable. Be aware if anything pops up that makes you think, oh, I can't do this, or this isn't going to work for me, because that will be something monumental in the way that they move forward with this new energy, this manifestation energy. And we don't want to fuck it up, right? We want to really make the most of this supercharged energy that we have on the earth right now. So this is a plea, some guidance, some help for you to really lean into you and your space, and potentially what's going to come up for you before you lead others through it, and making sure that you acknowledge through the activation process when you're holding, or you're doing this for yourself, or you're leading others, that you're acknowledging in the moment these little hiccups that can present themselves. When they present themselves, whether they get worked through or reframed in the moment, you might watch this live and think, oh my God, that's a really, I was aware of this, but actually I do want to address this during the activation, because I'm good at empowerment and I can move people through that. So I can very quickly, whilst in the activation, shift that for them. Perfect. And that's something that's going to be perfect for your creation, for the way that you work, but also to make sure that they and you get the most out of this experience without being shown these air pockets, and then whilst they're in activation think, okay, I'm expanding, I'm leaning into this. Let me give you an example, right? So an example of this would be, this is a great example because I use it in my teaching. So you're manifesting a partner, right? So it's emotional relationship stuff that you're manifesting, and you're leaning yourself into this future version of you, the things that you really want. You're engaging your visualization, your clairvoyance, maybe even your clairaudience. You're connected, you've done all your cleansing, everything's good, and you are expanding yourself into this future version of you, and actually you are trying to visualize this person, and they're with you, and you can feel, sense, smell them. You can scrunch your feet into the carpet of the visualization where you are, and it's all feeling wonderful. And then all of a sudden, you go and in your visualization you expand it even further, and you're going into, maybe things that you would do together, like walking on the beach or trekking through the mountains. And then all of a sudden, in your visualization, you get this. Actually, I wouldn't be able to do that, because the woman that I'm calling forward is career driven, and she doesn't like the mountains. Or man. Don't know why I said woman. Woman or man. Partner they don't like the mountains. So, okay. And all of a sudden, in that wonderful momentum that you've been building, there's this sudden realization, this air pocket that's come to the surface. It's like, oh, this couldn't happen. Now, in reality, as we know, that's not the truth. The truth is, of course it is. Of course it gets to be like that, or there's ways to work around it, but there's something there that is triggered, that's come to the surface to be moved so that you can call this forward. And the reason I really wanted to talk about this today is because we're not just in Lionsgate Portal, we're also in Mercury retrograde. And many other planets are retrograding, right? I'm not an astrologer, don't claim to be, but I do know that there's other energies at play here. Now, when this happens, there is an opportunity for us to rewrite, to really dig down and really address and assess some of the things that could be inhibiting an expansion, right? It's time in a Mercury retrograde to go back, go over what we need to go over to really set ourselves up and set our foundations up strong. So what if that pops up for someone and you're facilitating space for a huge expansion or an activation, and you're not addressing this air pocket that could bubble up and stop someone dead in their tracks? This is an invitation for you to just bring this awareness onto the way that you're holding that space, right? It's not my job to kind of tell you how to do that. You'll know your processes. You'll know, you might be like, actually, Laura, already done, already thought about. But I do actually want to add, now you've been speaking about it, I do actually maybe feel that I want to just address this part, or I want to maybe talk about that during the setup, right? Set your students, your clients, your wonderful, wonderful souls that are contracted to work with you up in the best way possible. Don't gloss over these things, because this is where your work could essentially not be as powerful as it is, as you know it is, because we've missed one little piece, right? So really encourage you to set yourself up right, make sure that you're connected. And this is the reason why I was talking about that earlier, is because when you're connected and you're grounded and you're channeling pure energy whilst you're holding this space, and you're connected to the heart space rather than the noise that's going on outside about 888 and scrolling through your phone all day long. When you have those moments of silence and you're operating from here and you and your trajectory, that is going to be so much more important and beneficial to what you're creating rather than what other people are creating and how they do Lionsgate, or how they do their activations or their potent work, right? So when you're in alignment and when you're solid in your movement forward, and you're checking all the bases and making sure that you're creating the perfect space for people, that's going to be so much more congruent to where you're going, your legacy, your trajectory, with the magic and the incredible transformation shifts that you're going to be giving those people, and encouraging them through it in the moment. You can then lead them back round to, you know, maybe potentially working with you afterwards if they did come up with something in the moment and you haven't got time to work through it, a limiting belief in the activation or the meditation, but you can encourage them and advise them in the moment to put it to one side, and at the end come back to it. What was it that came up for you? Was there something that came up for you? Because now's the chance that we get to work through that too. That is going to be so much more beneficial for the people that you're leading through, rather than just one meditation, right, that you're maybe emailing to them. Do it properly. I'm not having a go here. This is just me really encouraging you to be the best that you can be, with the magic that you've got. So that's what I've got for you today. This is a mini training, right? So I'm going to pop this on YouTube. This will be available. This is only for you guys in here and YouTube, but I don't have a lot of subscribers, so this is going to be, well, yeah, at the moment as we go, this is going to be for you guys. So utilize this for you wonderful change makers, you incredibly magical beings of light that are here to serve and help many people to ripple out and create the most wonderful transformation for people. This is your nudge and your warm guide forward into just making sure that you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's without perfectionism, but just making sure that you're like, okay, yeah, I want to make sure I just bring awareness to this. So that was what came through today. I hope you're well. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Enjoy whatever you're doing. I've got my own, I'm going to be, Lionsgate today for me is all about me. I'm not leading anyone through anything. I'm doing my own stuff. Oops, I've got my own, sorry, this fly just flew straight past me. I've got my own stuff that I'm creating and coming up for, and there's some real big shifts within me, and this Lionsgate is for me this year. So I'm going to be in my own jam, but my inbox is open, and if you watch this live and you're like, actually, can I run something past you? Please, like, message me. Let's have a chat about it. You know, always here to help. So have a wonderful day. Sending you tons and tons of love. And happy 888, and let's go. Let's effing go.